Well, you hired my manager after we were already together? So this is my favorite story of malicious compliance from my own workplace. I was working in fast food at the time, overnights under golden arches, and I had been working there about 9 months at the time. Now I had started talking to someone who used to work there as a manager after they quit. They decided to come back a few months later, but by that time, we were engaging in a sexual relationship. Fast forward 6 months, me and this manager had been on and off a few times, but they were a manager on my shift the entire time. Now I had never notified the company of our on, off, or relationship to begin with, assuming they did upon hiring and that the company didn't need constant notification of our on, off. At this point though, 6 months later, my hours disappeared. I thought it was an accident on the schedule at first, and my main manager would authorize me clocking on anyways. I was a good employee and they needed the body. The worst part about what they were scheduling me was they were scheduling me 9 p.m. 3 a.m. on the only 2 days I had left out of my availability. This meant I had no way to get home. I ride the bus, and they couldn't legally schedule me out of my availability in the first place. It's Oregon, they can ask you to prove your availability, but they can't schedule you outside of it unless you have already failed to prove it. Eventually managers from other shifts began telling my managers and I it was because of said relationship. My shift's managers were also told they would be written up if they continued to authorize me clocking on when I wasn't scheduled. When I texted my GM about it, they sent me the relationship policy. While it did include that they needed to be notified, it also stated that new hires were responsible for notifying management of all relationships, not pre-existing staff members. At this point I was pretty point blank stating we were in a sexual relationship when they were hired, and if they didn't reinstate my hours, I would apply for underemployment and report them for harassment. I also threw my manager under the bus here, saying they should be the one in trouble here, not me. Because I was a bit irritated they hadn't notified the company upon rehiring. The GM told me they would need to schedule a meeting about it with the regional manager, but made no attempts, from my perspective, to make that happen. GM also offered to switch me to days for less pay or to another store with the same pay cut. I denied this because I would quit before working days in fast food again or taking a pay cut, because someone else didn't do their job. My hours didn't come back the following week either. I believe the main overnight manager was in vacation that week, so cue malicious compliance. I worked the hours I was scheduled and not a minute more. They called me twice that week asking me to come in and help with cleaning. I said no, I don't want to get anyone in trouble for working unauthorized hours. The GM had to come in at 3 in the morning and do my usual deep cleaning tasks because nobody there knew how. I didn't hear another word about it, but my hours were back and within my availability again the next week. I quit, and so did my managers about 3 months later. But it felt nice to get this win. This sounds like you definitely could have sued them and probably should have contacted an employment lawyer. Amid the sizzle of burgers and the scent of fresh-cut French fries, Op caught her manager's gaze from across the counter. Their eyes met for just a moment, but it was enough to send a warmth through Op that rivaled the deep fryer. Every time he salted a batch of fries, the aroma filled the air, reminding her of their late-night talks, wrapped in the comforting scent of shared dreams and fried potatoes. For them, love wasn't on the menu, but it was undoubtedly in the air. Yeah, that was an attempt at constructive dismissal, and also a violation of Oregon Labor Board regulations. Apparently, you should have strapped their asses over a barrel. JFC, this hurt my head to read. What's up with the notifying your employee about your relationship status and rule against dating? other employees in the US. I assume this happened in the US because I have heard this thing before. Confusing to read with the they pronoun thing. I don't know if you are talking about they, the company, or they the one-person manager you talk. You're kind of wrong about Oregon employment laws regarding availability. You can inform work of availability, and they cannot retaliate for it, but they are under no obligation to meet your availability legally.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.